on to celebrating those who are doing good. Welcome back to another episode of Doing Good, where we shine a light on everyday volunteers making an extraordinary impact. Today marks the beginning of a two-part series focusing on the Women's National Book Association Nashville chapter. And we're thrilled to start with someone whose passion for books and literacy has shaped both her career and her volunteer work. Our guest is Amy McConnell, president of the WNBA Nashville chapter and founder and director of WriterFest. With over 20 years of experience in publishing, Amy has worked as editor-in-chief and vice president at Howard Books, Simon & Schuster, and as an acquiring editor at HarperCollins. She's edited numerous New York Times bestsellers, co-authored USA Today and Wall Street Journal bestsellers, and worked with everyone from celebrated musicians to social media influencers, psychologists, and actors. But today, we're not just talking about Amy's impressive publishing career. We're exploring how she channels that expertise into volunteer work that's opening doors for writers, readers, and literary enthusiasts throughout Nashville. Amy's story shows us how professional skills can become powerful tools for community impact. Amy, hi, welcome to the show. We're so excited to have you here.
Thank you. I'm glad to be here, Megan. Thanks for having me.
Absolutely. Well, Amy, let's begin and start with your background. With such an extensive career in publishing, what originally drew you to the world of books and editing?
I've been a big reader all my life, and when I got out of college, I knew that I wanted to be involved in books in some form or fashion, and had been always involved in editorial tasks, even up to that point as the editor of my newspaper and editing the yearbook and what else? And working as a professor's assistant and grading papers and things of that nature. So I really wanted to get involved in the book business. And my first job out of college was I taught for a year, and then I got a job as an associate editor at a publishing house. And so I've really been editing my whole life.
Well, with such a demanding career in publishing, what inspired you to volunteer? You had plenty going on. Did you have an aha moment?
That inspired me to get involved in volunteering with WNBA.
Well, to volunteer or frankly, even take on any volunteer leadership roles.
Right. Okay. Well, gosh, it really does go back to, I can remember my first child being born and volunteering to be on the fundraising committee for a literacy agency, literacy agency where I was living. Just always wanted to be using my talents for good. And that job, I remember we did a cookbook of all things to raise money, and I edited the cookbook. But I think I'm a big nerd, and anything that I do socially is going to in some way involve the arts, specifically the written word.
So what drew you specifically to the Women's National Book Association versus other literary organizations?
Well, to show you how nerdy I am, I didn't even realize that WNBA stood for anything other than Women's National Book Association. Now, obviously, it's the Women's National Basketball Association, but in my brain, it went just immediately to books, the first mention. I will say the thing that attracted me to it initially was my friend Carolyn Wilson, who was the librarian at a local, a university library here in Nashville, Tennessee. She was my librarian when I was going to college. And so I was already friends with her. And I saw her at the Southern Festival of Books when I was, I think I was 23 or 24 at the Southern Festival of Books, which is a big celebration of the written word here in Nashville that happens every year. It's free and open to the public. And we gather at the Southern Festival of Books. We gather, I think there's 100 writers, and it's fan focused. So it's for readers to come out and hear from their favorite authors. Well, I have gone to that thing for I think 30 straight years, maybe with the exception of maybe a couple of years when I was in the hospital with babies newly born. But my friend Carolyn Wilson was volunteering there, and I asked her, how can I volunteer? I want to be involved in this Southern Festival of Books. And she said, well, just join the Women's National Book Association. We do a lot of work with the Southern Festival. So I did. I joined and found that that was a great way to pitch in to an effort that was community focused, that was very based on our shared love of books.
Well, could you tell us a little bit about the organization's mission and what the Nashville chapter specifically focuses on?
Well, I should start by saying it is Women's National Book Association. So the predominant constituency would be females, because it was birthed over 100 years ago in 1917 in New York City, because women were not allowed as professionals to be members of professional associations, even if they worked in the bookselling industry as either booksellers or editors, etc., because those were predominantly male centric. So the Women's National Book Association was formed then and has been thriving ever since. And at this point, there are 11 chapters. So there's 11 chapters throughout America, and we're unified, but each chapter has its own distinct flavor, depending on the community of women who form that membership. Our particular community is united around some specific goals, but they overlap with the national goals. Our specific goals are to gather, celebrate, and serve readers. So we do that by way of monthly meetings for our membership, where we have programming. So that's the gathering. And then we celebrate in all kinds of ways all year long, but specifically at the Southern Festival of Books, we celebrate the written word with the Tennessee Humanities, who puts on that program. And then we serve in all kinds of different service activities throughout the year as well. So for instance, we'll do a book drive. Right now we're working on outfitting the women's prison here in Nashville with a new library of books to resource. And so we try to rally all of our membership's shared interests toward good, profitable things that are good for the community.
Absolutely. Yes. Well, and I think I happened upon another event which you didn't mention. It's called WriterFest. Tell us a little bit about what you were thinking.
It might not surprise you to find that WriterFest was born out of Southern Festival of Books. I was at at Southern Festival of Books one year and ran into one of my colleagues at the festival. And I said to her, I'm so high right now. It makes me so happy to be at this place. I love this thing. And she said, yes, I love it. And I said, I wish I could do it more often. She said, well, that's an extrovert for you. Most people who are here are not really looking for more opportunities to have more stuff to do. And I said, well, that's me. I want more of this kind of thing. But if I do it, I would want, if I throw that kind of party, it's going to be for writers, not just readers, because writers are my heroes. I'm not a writer. I have certainly written a lot of books. I've collaborated on, I think, 15 at this point, but writing is not my heartbeat. Reading is my heartbeat. I love to be a reader. And so I wanted to gather writers to inspire, empower, and connect them with the people that help them in their career. So we started WriterFest in 2018, and we've been going strong ever since.
Fantastic. So who attends that? What can they expect to experience?
Well, it's specifically crafted for writers of book, song, and film, which is very different. Most writer conferences that I attend, either as a literary agent or as an editor, any conference that I've ever attended has been more specific. It's niche oriented. It's just for romance writers. It's just for writers of religious scholarly text, or it's just for writers of thrillers. It's just for writers of mysteries. Just for writers of film. And we wanted to bring together, because Nashville is a very collaborative city. And my experience of Nashville, having lived here 30 years, is that everywhere you go, there are creatives and they want to try new things and expand their horizons. And I wanted that uniquely Nashville experience to be brought into a writer conference. So it works. It works beautifully. We always bring in keynotes who have had success in multiple venues, both song and film, or script and book, etc. And that's inspiring to people, so that they can say, hey, I've already been a best-selling author, but I want to learn how to write a screenplay. Or they say, hey, I'm a hit songwriter, but I've always wanted to turn this song into a book or this song into a film. And so we've seen a lot of that. It's been very fruitful. Plus, it challenges our own preconceived notions of what we're supposed to do as artists. And I think to stay vibrant and grow as an artist, you really have to gather with people who are different from you, not just like you.
Absolutely. You're so right. And I'll say that that's a good segue into maybe what you've, I'll say, pulled from the experiences, what you've learned about yourself or others. Can you talk about more of that and what you have, I'll say, gained from the leadership roles as a volunteer?
Well, that's a great question. I think what challenges me is that I am this extrovert who loves to dream of the next thing and to throw the next party. And so if I'm learning from all those experiences, I usually take away. I don't want to make that same mistake. I want to make new mistakes. I want to try new things and take the next level. And so I think I probably bring to, especially to WNBA, a desire to push the boundaries of what's expected of what we've done in the past and try new things, while also honoring what brought me to this party in the first place, which was coming alongside these women to serve the readers who love to gather in the name of reading books. So we're trying new things. For instance, there's the extrovert again, but we were meeting virtually for our book clubs, and that to me was just not gratifying. So I kind of pushed our executive board to consider new ways of doing that, and we've begun meeting in each other's homes. So the limitation of that is that you really want to make sure you only have people in your home that have already been vetted. Right. So we only allow members of WNBA to come to the book club meetings, whereas the programming is open to the public because it's a public gathering. So we're trying new things, but it's so fun. We love our in-person book clubs, and that's been a new thing that we've tried. So we're always trying, and growing involves trying new things, and even if they don't work, learning from the experience.
I love it. That's terrific. And you mentioned about being a WNBA member. What is involved with that?
Well, it's a pretty low entry fee. I mean, there's an annual membership, but once you're a member, then you get to participate in all the activities that we have. You can participate in volunteer roles. We obviously, volunteer roles are reserved for members as opposed to, because you need to be a little bit vetted before you can serve in that capacity. Our membership is very active in service across Nashville, and we volunteer hundreds and hundreds of hours in service to the community. What's involved in membership, though, is really just participating. Right. So over the summer, we have happy hours. So we just have been gathering at Pinewood Social over the summer for the last 3 months. And we just talk about our favorite books and talk about what we're working on and what we've been reading. And then we also gather for book club. And now we're moving into our calendar programming year. So for instance, in September, we'll have our very first back in-person programming meeting will be, we're focusing on shopping local. So we'll feature members of the community who are shop owners or frontliners in independent bookstores, and they'll talk to us a little bit about what that entails and what they've learned and share in that way. So membership really just looks like taking advantage of opportunities to gather and to celebrate and to serve with us.
And I remember you're saying there are 11 chapters across the country. So maybe they do, or maybe they don't have a WNBA chapter in their area. What would you suggest is a way they can get involved in books and literacy and supporting their community?
What a great question. Well, I'll start with WNBA and I'll say that you can join as a national member. And then just as a national member, you have the ability to participate virtually in a number of the community activities. So you can dial into the Boston chapters happenings this month or this week, and then next week at the San Diego. There, you can participate virtually in some things. We have in the Nashville chapter, we have members who are in Memphis or who are in Clarksville and Fairview, other Dixon, who drive in for our meetings because they're just that good. So people do come from as far as Memphis to participate in our particular meetings. And I would say that's true probably of the other chapters as well. But then if you are not interested in participating in WNBA or for some reason don't have access to WNBA, I would urge people who are listening to come to the Southern Festival of Books, where we'll have a strong presence. WNBA has a strong presence. We have a specific ticketed event. It's free, open to the public, but you do have to get a ticket because they sell out, called Coffee with Authors. It's on Saturday, October 20th or 19th or 20th, I forget. But it's the weekend of the Southern Festival of Books, and that is put on by our organization, WNBA. And it is a ticketed event, so that you get in there, and we spend time with authors, and we have food and coffee, and it's just a delightful experience every year. I'm always just wowed that I get to be a part of that. But I would urge people to grab their ticket to Coffee with Authors at Southern Festival of Books for this year. And then I'd also just say, come by and see us at our booth at Southern Festival of Books. I mean, Festival of Books is a whole weekend. It's Saturday and Sunday. You can come out and meet your favorite authors, hear them speak, and maybe find some new ones to enjoy. There are also tents all around the Bicentennial Mall in downtown Nashville, and we love it. It's so fun to get to meet people in the community, and people always bring out their dogs, so we get to say hello to people and their dogs in the park. And so yeah, just come by the WNBA booth and say hello.
So, Amy, is there a particular story you could share with us? I'm wondering if you might have maybe a volunteer story that really captures why the volunteer work matters to you so much.
I love that. If I may, I just I would recall my friend Carolyn Wilson. I think I mentioned her a few minutes ago. She was my librarian at the college that I went to, Lipscomb University, and the reason I want to call her to mind is because she introduced me to my first author. She brought an author in to speak and introduced me to her, and that was the first time I ever met an author. And now that's my life, is supporting and helping authors on a daily basis. And I never take it for granted, but she introduced that to me. She introduced me to that possibility. And so now when I get the chance to introduce WNBA members to authors or expose them to opportunities to participate in the publishing world or the landscape of literacy and reading, I just feel like I'm following in her footsteps. And that to me is amazing because that changed my world.
Well, I think that's a beautiful way to memorialize her. Thank you for sharing that with us and letting us carry Carolyn with us and think about it as we carry out our own volunteer activities and realize that, oh, that could be impacting someone else's career, their entire, who knows, maybe their life trajectory in some way.
For sure.
So since you are so ingrained in WNBA Nashville chapter, what are your hopes for the future of the chapter, and where do you see it heading under your leadership?
I think the main thing that I'm excited about right now is the infusion of new energy. We have seen the membership roster really grow over the last few years. I think there's a lot of interest in service and gathering with people who also want to serve, specifically among younger people. So I've loved to see the new energy there, and they want to get involved. They don't just want to attend and go along for the ride. They really want to participate. So that's been really fun. We've had a lot of changes, and that can be tough sometimes when there are certain people in the membership who are kind of used to doing things a certain way. But that's also really invigorating for the whole organization. It's invigorating. I was unable to go to the national meeting in June because I'd forgotten to get my real ID. So when came time to travel, I realized I needed to, oh no, I have to get my real ID, and I couldn't get it. So the vice president was able to go, Yuvia Augustin, and she came back, which was really fun. And she came back and was similarly energized as I am about the increasing membership at the WNBA level and the increasing interest in serving and connecting across the chapters and within the chapter. So it's just an exciting time to be involved. This year specifically with the WNBA, we had a long moment, I should say, where we wondered if the Southern Festival of Books would be able to go on because their funding had gotten cut. Fortunately, the Tennessee Humanities was able to rally and got Vanderbilt to present this year. So it's really helps them a lot. And it's been exciting to work kind of hand in glove with the Tennessee Humanities to make sure they didn't miss a step. We've been able to support them in that. And we're looking for new ways to support them going forward as their funding models have sort of changed. And the WNBA membership is really excited about that. We want to help. We want to grow and change things in a positive way. So that's been really neat.
How exciting. And how exciting for someone who wants to volunteer in the world of literacy.
Right, right.
Amy, thank you for sharing your incredible journey with us today. Your story beautifully illustrates how professional expertise can become a powerful source for community good. Through your leadership with WNBA Nashville chapter and your creation of WriterFest, you're not just supporting individual writers. You're building a more inclusive, accessible literary community right here in Middle Tennessee. Thank you for your time, energy, and expertise you pour into supporting Nashville's writers and readers, and for taking the time to share your story with us today.
It's been a joy. I appreciate what you're doing. You're doing good. You're doing good in the world.
Thank you so much. Thank you for listening to this episode of the Doing Good podcast. If you enjoyed our conversation today, we invite you to subscribe or rate us on your favorite podcast platform. And follow us on Facebook, Instagram, Pinterest, LinkedIn, or YouTube at Doing Good TV. Doing Good is a 501c3 nonprofit. Please donate to support this podcast via the donate button on our website, doinggood.tv. And while you're there, nominate a volunteer you know for us to celebrate on a future episode. Together, let's celebrate those who are doing good.